really good with that. So, yeah, up on stage we have, this is Dominique, you saw, right? She's my wife. It's like over 30 years. I don't know if I'm supposed to keep up on what the exact number is, but
37 years together.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay, that's good. The great Margaret Cho and Lucia, who, Margaret has graced us with doing this, and I'm so grateful to her. And it's just a real firecracker. The great Madeline Nonno of the Geena Davis Institute. Madeline, if you don't know her, if you know her, you know like what a dynamo she is. If you don't know her, you'll meet her, you'll realize what a dynamo she is. She's just an incredible person. And Alissa Old Crow, just like a beautiful presence. She came here from Texas, so came into Los Angeles.
We also want to thank Jonathan Sanger, who his intelligence, his sensitivity, and also Carla Sanger, I wouldn't say other half. They're two phenomenal people walking the path together. They've been so amazing for this film and the journey of it. And gosh, who else?
Well, we have Crystal Starr in the audience.
Exactly.
So who didn't love that song, man? It's like, we heard that and we were searching for, what are we going to end this movie on, right? And Jonathan played Crystal's song, and we're just like crying, we're weeping. We're like, holy crap, okay, done. We have the song, so thank you, Crystal. Ruth Elliott is here, who helped us with animation and graphics, so thank you, Ruth. And we have Stephen from Digital here. We also have Will Nix, who is just pulled us together with many great people and made this happen. So, and if anybody forgot, I apologize, but we want to keep this fairly short. I just want to ask the ladies, aside from Dominique, because we kind of know a lot of her thoughts. Do you have any thoughts about seeing the film?
Women are meant to rule.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what men have done to our planet. Look at what men have done to our country. Look at what's happening to our country. We're imprisoning children. We're putting 5-year-olds with Spider-Man backpacks in detention. We're allowing for families to be separated. We're murdering people in the street for no reason other than filming something with their phone. I mean, it's just an outrage. So the failure of the patriarchy is so evident daily. So it's our responsibility as women, as older women now, we have to take over. There's no way that patriarchy is going to save itself from itself.
Yeah.
We do so many studies about caregiving and aging and menopause, and we have a study on menstruation. And the thing is that we just really have to reposition, particularly in narrative and storylines, what life is for women, midlife forward, that it's a beginning, it's not an end, and it's all been towards the end of. And we have to completely flip the script on it. So that's, to me, what's so profound about it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and same. I think that absolutely echo that the patriarchy is ruining us right now. And I loved what really stood out to me. This is my second time seeing it, first time fully. Is the justice. And when you spoke about justice and the rage, I think, is very convenient right now, because I do have this very strong sense of justice and that this is not okay what's happening, mixed with the rage, and I think that they should be scared.
Well, thank you. And I want to address the rage that we feel, right? And we all are now aware that all the social media has been taken over by the dicks. And it's gone, right? And that's a good thing, because something, it was made poorly. It wasn't made to really embrace community. And we have to redefine what that means. And I hope that the people watching this film, this audience is made up of powerhouses of women and thought leaders. And we gotta just do this more on the ground. It's they told two friends, they told two friends. Tell people about this movie, tell them about the project. Because in the course of doing this over 10 years, I talked to many women about it. I never told any woman anything new. You all know this. You all know that you come from this place. And it's about remembering it so that we can remember where we come from so we can figure out how to move forward. And you guys have the capabilities to move us forward. I hope that I did a service so that I could provide some more foundation for that. But as Margaret said, you guys are going to move us forward. But the people in the audience, we all have to get on that. We have to figure out, I think maybe it's going to be traditional media that gets us through, right? So we can write articles, if we could find press, if we could figure out, do more events like this, right? And that's the thing, and everybody was given a card with our phone number on it. I hope that we get overwhelmed with phone calls about people who have ideas what to do, and we'll like hop on every one of them, you know, because this is a grassroots thing, and we're gonna do it, and this is, you know, we're gonna remember this day as like, oh yeah, I remember when that thing started, and we're at it right now.
Yeah, so contact us with any ideas, anything that we can do to get the message out there. And as Stephen spoke about, Bingeable has that great part of it that you can raise money for yourself, for your project, for a charity by putting out the message about this movie. So for both things, I can explain exactly how it happens, so please email me, call me, let's get this going. Get some questions from the audience.
In case they want to add anything at all, if you're good, we can just talk to the audience. So Alissa gets to see herself for the first time in the big screen. She's one of the things I interviewed her, and it's so moving. And I have to admit, I had to cut out a lot of laughter because we laughed so many times when we were doing this thing. So just that was my memory of Alissa, and just this profound grounding, and I'm so grateful for that. And also, again, just Madeline, you've been a real underground push for us to feel good about what we're doing. And the way we met Margaret was Madeline's like, oh, I have her email. And so I sent Margaret an email about like, oh, we're doing this kooky project about menopause. And like, it was like an hour. Margaret comes back, I want to do this. So Margaret came on, and it's just so grateful to that. Yeah, just wonderful people. Thank you. So okay, anybody have a question? Wow. Okay, I see one there. You got to yell it out though, please.
I was just really happy to see, well, all of it, and the menopause and the crone and all that stuff. But what I really have been trying to understand the last couple of decades is the buy-in by young women into this, changing their bodies, not accepting wrinkles or any of those things. And, you know, more younger and younger women are getting Botoxed and cut their faces up and trying to be something that's so unnatural. And it's just, to me, it's such an important discussion that I think as mothers, grandmothers and stuff, accept your body, accept the aging. A beautiful tree ages, everything ages. It's beauty, and it's just shocking what's happening, especially in the cosmetic world and all the images and these actresses, and oh my God, I'm just like, I thought 20 years ago we were going towards the eco stuff, but yeah, it's the backlash is horrendous, horrendous.
And I just want to comment on that. So a lot of it has to do with little boys watching a lot of porn and influencing their young girlfriends. I have a phenomenal doctor, and she may not want me to mention her name, so I won't. But anyway, and she told me that, you know, she has girls coming in to see her who are like 13, 14 years old and saying, hey, I need to know about glamming my clam. And it's like they won't even tell their mothers about this, but that's what's happening. So you've got girls who are super young, they're just getting their, you know, periods, and now they've got their little boyfriends influencing them. So it's starting really, really young. So to me, there's such a responsibility for men and boys to be fully on board and embraced, and that's, to me, it's a different kind of power, but that's where we need a lot of support, and that's how young it's starting, and then it just escalates as they get older.
And I think for young women or women fearing aging, it's a misguided attempt to source power, because there's so limited images of female power out there. You know, it's like, you know, we don't exist, even though we're so here. We're disappearing. It's just like you see in films, the ingenues exist and the crone exists, but there's nothing in between really. So it's patriarchy again, which erases women's power, erases images of women. Also, there's a strange thing up in social media where you have young women going to adopt a trad wife lifestyle, where they're making all sorts of food from scratch, you know, ridiculous recipes that take days, and, you know, using all of their energy to make these households as a kind of a motherhood cosplay, as a kind of crone cosplay that is really ludicrous, but also draining for just the idea that somebody's fantasy life is that it's kind of like the way that Marie Antoinette had a fake farm, that she would go and pretend to be a shepherdess, just because that was this way of like somehow accessing a kind of natural power over the natural world. Like, let's actually have the real crones do it. Let's actually have the real women do it.
Yeah, and if you are told from birth that your importance is your reproductivity and therefore your fertility, it's intense when you go beyond that and things happen to your body. And I can tell you as a East Coaster that it's more difficult when I come to Los Angeles. I start thinking a lot more about what I'm wearing and how I'm doing my makeup. So it's harder for you guys here, I have to say. And that's what we have to change, that women are not one or two facets. We are multifaceted. And when we go post-reproductive, we are as important, maybe even more important. And the minute that we do that, then we're gonna start loving the things that happen in that time frame. And we're gonna stop trying to erase them.
Yeah, I think what came to mind to me is social media. And I had a similar situation where I was seeing all these things. This is what's wrong, you know, with your face. This is what's wrong with your body. And I started having the same thing. It's crazy how it can happen if we're not intentional about what we're consuming. And I saw another reel that said, hey, you can hide all of that. You can make it stop feeding you those images. And so I went in and I reset my algorithm, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, I love my wrinkles. I love the fact that my forehead moves and I can emote, and that I have smile lines. Like, they're beautiful. They're beautiful in other women too. And I think when you can see them and you can celebrate, for me, when I can see them and celebrate another woman's like absolute beauty, comprehensive beauty, it helps it feel socially acceptable, and then it's sort of right-sized again. And so I think social media, to your point, we kind of lose the thread of what really matters, and those things become like overinflated. And so I think hopefully as that consciousness grows, then we can kind of take it back and say, no, my value is not just in how I look and never aging. There's a beauty in that happening. So.
And I want to add a notion, thank you. Yeah, I want to add a notion because it's so fascinating. Dominique and I have been working on this for 10 years. And just last week, we had a conversation about how the rise of the patriarchy wasn't conspiratorial. It wasn't men doing this power grab. It was kind of a joint movement that we just was like, oh, I guess this makes more sense. And what we had the conversation was, and I respect women so much, I think it's obvious, right? But you guys, you're so gaslit by this patriarchy. And I think that, I hope that you all keep becoming more and more humble to how gaslit you are. Because again, Dominique and I have been doing this for 10 years. We just realized another version of how she was gaslit by the situation a week ago, right? And we've been doing this for 10 years. And so we're gonna change as you guys start to unravel that. The bully patriarchy has been so effective at gaslighting women so much that we just got to get to unwinding it, and we all have to be brave enough to go into those places, because you know what, we're going to find the better thing on the other side. Wise women are going to lead us there, and it hurts me so much. It's like the last death in a war is the most tragic, because we all know it's over, right? And the people, Alex Peretti, Renee Good, and the kids in the camps, but it's like USAID coming down, and the hundreds of thousands of people who are suffering all over the world because of this patriarchy right now. And it's like we're so much suffering, and we've got to make it the end of this, right? And that's what we can do with this. And the people in this room actually are jacked enough that we can get that going. So I hope that you all are thinking in those terms, like, yeah, no, we got this. Let's get this over. And have that last death happen, the most tragic one, and move on.
And let's remember that matriarchy is not just switching out all the leaders for women. It's the system of patriarchy that doesn't work. That is ruling from one or a few heads down. Matriarchy thinks of the community and the future first and goes from there.
And I'll tell you one dream I have is that I'm somewhere out in the wild and I hear ee, 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 and women all come together to the aid of other women, right? That's when we'll know this is all working.
Yes.
Thank you for this. Also, want to remind you, when you keep using guys for your panel of women, where the etymology is like, we're not guys, we're women. But diversity and domestication. So it took 10,000 years for your little dog to become domesticated from a wolf, but it's taken less than 5,000 years for women and men to become domesticated, primarily women. And then diversity, I was really excited that you brought in diversity, Navajo, Apache tribes, Latinas, African, all that. Because those are the women who are going to really change it back to what it was when we were goddesses, and we did have this power to evolve people and create and really nurture the planet, Mother Earth. So thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
I just wanted to say that I appreciate that this film helps me be less afraid of going through menopause. Because I sound like, oh, okay, with that clarity, I'm looking forward to that.
And from my outside perspective, man, that's a hell trip. I mean, pregnancy as well, man. I have no idea how you guys can do that. But menopause as well, man, it is a bone deep event. Now, when I watch women go through pregnancy, they're like, oh, cool, I'll do all this crap because I get a baby. That's kind of good. And then what is menopause sort of telling you? Oh, you get to go through all this crap, but then we're just going to wait for you to die. Your doctors are like, you should be dead, right? It's like so ridiculous. But what the idea is that what you get on the other side of going through the trials and tribulations of menopause is that you become this rebirth of yourself, right? And this is something that Dominique talked about.
Yeah. To me, it's a transition, rebirthing yourself into the wisdom and leadership part of yourself. And I can tell you, and you might have seen on the Step and Repeat a book called Your Brain on Menopause, which is what Leanne Brizendine was talking about. Luann Brizendine was talking about. She has renamed her book. It used to be The Upgrade, and it's now Your Brain on Menopause. I suggest all women to buy it and read it, because instead of the decline that's been talked about in menopause, oh, be careful of dementia and Alzheimer's and, you know, the menopause brain and you're losing it, she shows the science about how the brain, it's rewiring itself just like it does in pregnancy. Kind of getting rid of the neural pathways that you don't need anymore, like the ones that hold you back from saying what you need to say, and creating the new neural pathways for your leadership phase.
How has it been for you guys speaking your mind? What is that like?
I mean, I think it's just profound how much I don't give a shit about anything or anyone, and I really love it. I think it should have always been this way. I wish I had this mind when I was 25, you know, but now, having it now, and yes, to the young, beautiful young lady who's like, I look forward to menopause, it's great, it's really great, but you know, I didn't even know that it was going to be this great. I was afraid of it too, and now I'm so grateful. So you have a greatness in store.
Now, Alissa, you're in perimenopause, so you're right in the real meat of the...
I'm just now finding it. I am, and I'm calling my representatives every single day and letting them hear me kind of find my voice and speak truth to their power. I just wanted to say one thing about diversity, and that's, so I'm biracial. I'm half Cheyenne, Southern Cheyenne, and half Caucasian, and my mother was the Caucasian side, and so I was raised in a matriarchy full of women. She had sisters and my grandmother, and so growing up, I lived with all of them in a very strong matriarchal sort of organization. But what I realized as I got older is that on the Cheyenne side, aging is revered. Like the way that it works when I'm in community on the Cheyenne side of my family is when food is served, like in Western society, on the other side of my family, the Caucasian side, the kids eat first. We fix their plates and they're the ones who eat first, and they're kind of like just thinking about themselves, right? And then they go back to play and they want dessert when you're not even finished with your plate yet. On the Cheyenne side, it's not the case at all. The children and people of my generation and younger, we immediately turn to our elders and serve them first. And that's how it goes. It's because they're respected. If they speak, there's silence. And it's listening because there's wisdom there. And so I think that that's something that hopefully, I mean, if that survived the cultural genocide that happened to us and all the other tribes, hopefully it can continue to survive and transition into as we find our community. And I think that that's what this time is calling us to do, right? We need to find our community and take care of each other in these extremely trying times, especially in this country. And to me, that's my hope, is that we start to revere age, the wisdom that comes with that.
Yeah. Anything else from anybody up here, or we're all good? Anybody else in the audience? Because we don't want to hang too late. Okay, we have another question.
I know you did a screening, again, thank you, congrats to all of you. I know you did a screening with college students. Can you share what some of them said, as well as the young men? Because I think there's a misconception this is only for older women and women, but I think this is for everyone, so can you share some more?
Well, first of all, the comment that we just had, you know, not being afraid of going into menopause. That is the very first thing that all the comments and the thank yous from young women of looking at this, and also having what one woman said to me is, oh my God, I'm just realizing all of the decisions that I have internalized that are not mine. And so it gave her the permission to start looking at all of her thought processes. And she was, you know, a good 35 years away from menopause. So things like that happen for younger women watching the film. And then a young man came up to Chris afterwards and said, thank you. He was like, what, 19?
Yeah.
Thank you. I understand my sisters and my mother so much better.
And I've always been concerned about how men would react to the movie. And what I've noticed, and they've come up to me and talked to me about this, is men want to be in service. And the bully patriarchy suppresses that out of us. We learned when we were 4 to be a fireman, a policeman, a superhero, and we got it, right? And so there's a lot of us who want to help, but the bully patriarchy is so loud, it takes up so much oxygen. I mean, nothing compared to what you guys go through, but it's really suppressive to me. And so there's something you have to say, I'm a typical male. This whole thing makes it better for me because it's a selfish act that I could empower women because they ask me to do fun stuff. But men, we want to help. We want to be in service, and that's where we just are quiet about it. And the bully patriarchy is so loud. So that's what I found with men, and I'm grateful to find that. Yes.
I guess kind of on that, as a man in this position, like where's the difference between like stepping aside or just being quiet and directing a movie like this one? Like where's the in between? I guess.
My mentor is Michael Moore, right? And Michael talks about listening, right? And there's this notion that us as we want to put things into the world and we want to be heard. Being heard begins with listening. And so that's the muscle that I work on the most, is how can I listen? And then how can I get out of my shit's way so that I could do something with what I hear? And that's the process to continually do that. And I'm lucky to be with this amazing woman because she will call me on it. And I love her so much that it's so worth it. I've learned, I'm simple-minded, right? But I've learned how great it is to hear what she says and like try to process it. It takes time, right? And I could put together the wise women hypothesis, which is new science, right? But I struggle with making plans for dinner, and so it takes time. But it's the baseline is to listen. And for the women, if you find a man who wants to practice listening, have some real patience with us, because it's hard for you to, in my opinion, to really understand how difficult it is for the male mind to get something. These things that you have that are so easy, it doesn't work. So men who want to listen, give us a little patience, and we're trainable, and we want to serve, right? So does that answer your question?
And a key thing, the whole simple-mindedness, because when he first did that interview and then he cut that piece and I was watching and I'm like, you're not simple-minded, you're like hyper-intelligent and you are a pain in my ass all the time with this fact and that fact. And it's not that. It's that for him to understand something, he has to it's this color or this color or this color at most, right? Whereas if I'm making a decision, I'm seeing facets of tonalities of the same color. And so the two working together is the best thing. Because I'm gonna bring in, well, no, you have to remember there's this thought and that feeling and this person and etc. But he can help and organize so that if there's a direct decision to be made quickly, we can make it together like that, right? So that's really what we need to come back to, is that working together.
Thank you. You had a question?
Yeah, it's not really a question, but I was gonna say, one of the things that stuck with me the most about this is somebody said that it's easy to assume for a woman because they can deal with pregnancy and childbirth, which is just like my mom's an OBGYN, so she told me a lot about it, and so operating under that assumption that it's they deal with this so that all the other problems they have don't really matter. I think that kind of blew my mind a little bit, because it is something that I consider myself open-minded, yet at the same time I still definitely had that assumption that they can just deal with it because they deal with stuff that's so much more difficult. And I think I guess just to go with your point of like listening, that just, you know, hearing stuff like that kind of can teach you more, even if you're not, even if you think that you're, you know, listening, you might not have realized a lot of these things. I think that's like a lot of speaks to the power of this film.
We have some good men in this audience, so let's help our women, guys.
I'd like to ask Margaret a question, if I could. You are a child-free woman,
Yes.
right, by choice.
Yes.
So that means that in your life, you have taken your creative
Mhm.
possibility
Yes.
and put it towards something else.
Yes.
Have you found it hard in your life? Have you had pressure, like, why aren't you?
Oh, yes.
Why aren't you using your womb, etc.?
Yes, and you know, but I'm so grateful that I don't have children. I'm so grateful that I am. I'm not somebody that could bend to that pressure, and I'm so grateful I had the ability during those years to have the choice to have those pregnancies terminated. That was a big thing, and easily, where I was living in a place where it wasn't stressful to do it, and I could afford it, and I wasn't pressured. I'm so grateful because I just, I've never wanted to have a child. I just never felt it. But I look at it as like I've been given the ability to parent other artists, you know, and parent my friends, you know, parent other younger people. I have many friends who are young. And I have boundless energy for that. So yeah, I'm so grateful that I don't have children.
See, I think that's also really important that we remember that the second chakra of creativity, where our womb is, does not mean that the creativity needs to be used to create a human, right? It can be other kinds of creativities. And stop trying to make women be this or maximum this. That's your choices. Because there's a lot of different kinds of women with a lot of facets.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I think that if women want children, if they really, really do want children, then that's a wonderful gift to be able to do it. And I personally have 7 children, and I wanted 13 because I had this goal in my heart from the time I was 7 years old that if only people who had children would teach them and love them, and teach them love, that love would go forth and spread to the rest of the world when they had children, if they treated them correctly. But there's so many children that come into the world that are unwanted, and that's the sad part. But if you want children, then those are the people who should have it.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. All right, guys, I think we're going to wrap up so that we can all go home. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you to this great panel. And let's do this, guys. Let's get out there and have this happen.